States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and welcome to the Rockwood Board of Education meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the district, hear reports about our progress, and listen to the community on important issues. We want to remind all of our visitors that we expect the audience to remain civil and respectful at all times as the board conducts its business. We appreciate your cooperation and that you took the time to attend tonight's meeting. First order of business is 4.02, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by yea.
Yay.
Any opposed? That motion carries. 4.03, approval of the Board of Education meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the Board of Education meeting minutes for October 10th, 2024? Any discussion? Hearing all in favor, please signify by yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We do not have any patron comments tonight, but I do think we have superintendent's comments.
Indeed, thank you, President Bidjet. The Rockwood School District earned the 2024-25 Meritorious Budget Award for Excellence in Budget Presentation from the Association of School Business Officials International, ASBO. This is the 25th straight year that the Rockwood School District has earned an MBA from the ASBO. The Association of School Business Officials International's MBA program promotes and recognizes excellence in school budget presentation. Program participation enhances school business officials' skills in developing, analyzing, and presenting a school system budget. I would like to congratulate our Chief Financial Officer, Cindy Bias, and our Director of Finance, Dan Steinberge, and their entire team for earning this honor yet again here in Rockwood, and for their continual hard work and dedication to ensuring fiscal responsibility is truly a part of the Rockwood School District. You deserve a round of applause. Congratulations. Each year, the Rockwood School District recognizes support staff members, including bus drivers, nurses, secretaries, custodians, computer support personnel, classroom assistants, special school district teachers, and all of the other Rockwood employees who serve our students and work with our staff every day. This is through the Cornerstone Awards program. The employees represent an absolutely critical part of our district, and Rockwood wants them all to know how much their contributions mean to everyone. The Cornerstone Award is your opportunity to recognize these individuals. Nominations for the 2025 Cornerstone Awards are being accepted through tomorrow, Friday, October 25th. If you have a support staff member in mind who goes above and beyond in their service to the Rockwood community, please strongly consider submitting a nomination at rsdmo.info/Cornerstone Awards. This semester, Crestview Middle School 6th grade students have put their learning to work in service that is worthy of in service of worthy causes in language arts, specifically in Kristen Ringkamp and Jennifer Voigt's ACT Lab. The students are combining art, communication, advertising, and persuasive writing to raise money and ultimately collect donations for 3 local animal-based nonprofits: the Humane Society of Missouri, R&R Ranch, and the Second Chance Ranch. These 3 nonprofits visited the classrooms during the course of the semester, and yesterday they returned to meet with the students as a result, had an opportunity to view all of their hard work. Congratulations to those students. Finally, tonight, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, a time to commemorate the many contributions of people with disabilities to America's workplace and to its economy. Through a partnership with the Special School District of St. Louis County, Lafayette High School offers opportunities for SSD students to participate in the Vocational Skills Program, which is known as VSP. This program is designated for students who have completed 4 years of high school but require extended programming to develop the skills needed to move forward in a successful manner in their post-secondary skill development for employment. So let's hear how our VSP students' experience actually has, I think we have a video, how their experience has gone at Lafayette High School and how they are benefiting a specific student, being Marquette High School student Sam Hillenbrand.
This is Lafayette High School. It's one of the Rockwood schools, and I work in the kitchen. I make salads, I help serve food, I clean, I prep, and I cut everything. I do the vegetables, I do sometimes fruit, and yeah, I help out with the preschool too. It's really awesome. I help them read, so the teachers are trying to encourage me and a couple of my other coworkers to teach them how to read. And yeah, it's really fun, and they really enjoy seeing me and happy. I do like my job because I make people smile, and I think they really enjoy having me here. I like it because I feel like I'm getting myself ready to be in the real world. So it's very, very rewarding that I actually get to be in a job and actually get to do something. This is my last year. I will be graduating in May. I really hope that I find a job that is fitting for me and that they will accept me and want me to work with them. I think it's preparing me just to be out in the real world.
Thank you, President Midyet.
Thank you. So just to follow up with that, I had the opportunity with Dr. Kane and with Dr. Macklin from Special School District to visit the program at Lafayette High School yesterday, and it is fantastic. I was able to see the students at work, but I was also able to see people who were providing natural supports for the students, teaching cutting skills, teaching especially in the cafeteria situation. And I believe a couple people have been hired from the program. And so it's an amazing program, and I hope it becomes a model for other districts. Anyone else?
I'd like to mention, had the opportunity this past week to attend the Missouri School Board Association annual meeting in Kansas City with members of the school board. Thank you to the community for allowing us to do that and giving us that opportunity to grow professionally for ourselves so that we can be better to serve you as our constituents in the community. We partake in networking and talking to people from across the state and other board positions. We attended legislative issues, legal issues. We attended finance issues. It was a real growth, and some of the speakers, the featured speakers we had, were so inspirational. They really moved us, and they moved us to be better so that we can be better for our students. So we just really appreciate that opportunity.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.01, approval of the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
Any discussion?
I would like to talk about the public gifts. We have very generous donations from the Eureka Sports Association to several of our schools in the Eureka area, and that's to assist with equipment to benefit their physical health and well-being. We also have a generous donation from the Eureka Elementary PTO, and that's to supplement and support their events within the school. Again, thank you to all of our people in our community that help our students to grow and learn in our schools.
Thank you. So again, the motion is to approve the consent agenda items as submitted. All in favor, please signify by yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. 8.01, proclamation of Red Ribbon Week. The motion is to approve the proclamation designating October 21st to 25th, 2024 as Red Ribbon Week in the Rockwood School District.
So moved.
Second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So I believe we're going to start with Izzy reading the proclamation, and then we'll hear from Michelle.
Let me get my readers. Whereas Rockwood District values the health and safety of all students and citizens, whereas substance abuse is particularly damaging to one of our most valuable resources, our children, and contributing a factor in the 3 leading causes of death for teenagers: accidents, homicides, and suicides. And whereas it is the goal of Red Ribbon Week and Rockwood School District to involve families, schools, businesses, churches, law enforcement agencies, and service organizations in all aspects of this campaign and establish an atmosphere that supports awareness, education, and an ongoing initiatives to prevent illegal drug use. And whereas the Red Ribbon Week campaign theme promotes family and individual responsibilities for living healthy, drug-free lifestyles without illegal drugs or the illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas National Red Ribbon Weeks will be celebrated October 21st through 25th, 2024 across the country. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Rockwood School District does hereby proclaim October 21st through 25th, 2024 as Red Ribbon Week within the district, as well as district support in demonstrating unity around health, drug-free lifestyle.
Thank you. Michelle.
Can you hear me? Thank you. I want to introduce myself. My name is Michelle Ertwig. I was here last year, but I see some new faces, so hello. I am the school substance abuse supervisor for Rockwood School District. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm very grateful to the board and the district for their support and for bringing drug and alcohol awareness to schools by declaring Red Ribbon Week. For Red Ribbon Week, I was once again able to offer monetary support, I think, to 21 schools that took the opportunity. I was able to offer this support to schools for their Red Ribbon Week campaigns. Across the district, there will be spirit days, contests, decorations, games, and giveaways. Ridge Meadows made an amazingly cute video about making healthy choices and avoiding harmful substances. Many schools are incorporating not only remaining drug-free, but making healthy choices and healthy decisions. Other schools, like LaSalle Springs, are bringing guest speakers, such as Lizzie Schott. She was a mother who lost her son to fentanyl toxicity, and they're also bringing Eureka Police Officer Michael Wurges as a guest speaker. Also in the month of October, 3 DEA One Pill Can Kill presentations were scheduled, 2 being this week. These adult-only events included a personal story of a mother who lost her son to fentanyl poisoning, and the hidden in plain view bedroom setup. The DEA agent also presented information on trends in the St. Louis area and emerging threats, including xylazine and nitazene. The parents who attended, I think 15 in total, were engaged and took the opportunity to ask questions. I would like to take the opportunity now just to update you a little bit about my program. Since I saw you last time, a lot has changed. In regards to the educational program to date, I've had 52 students complete the educational program. In the 23-24 school year, I received 55 referrals from Dr. Gary Jansen's office for 10-day suspensions, and an additional 9 referrals from parents and other administrators. As of today, I've gotten 25 referrals for the 24-25 school year. I have also started to see students just as check-ins, students who have completed the educational portion of the program, but they've also requested to continue to see me to do check-ins. They view this as helpful to touch base regarding their substance use. It holds them accountable, and it also allows them to talk about triggers and other resources if they are struggling with their sobriety. In April of 24, we were able to implement, it's complicated, it's a peer-led program. It's a prevent ed program. We did implement it into Marquette last year, however, and we had good data from it. There was good results. However, this year we ran into some hiccups, so we're tabling it and hopefully restarting next year. The peer specialist program was piloted at Pathways in March of 24, and it was very well received. So we did restart that this year. It started again on October 9th and will end on November 13th. And again, the peer specialist program is education and curriculum presented by a peer specialist who is someone who is living in recovery. So someone who has lived experience of substance use disorder. New this year, Stanford Reach, who is it's Stanford Medicine, they came out with an online self-paced nicotine course. So it's a course that students can complete on their own time. So if they get suspended for nicotine during their time in ISS, they can complete this course. So part of the protocol of their suspension is taking this course and passing the quiz to complete their suspension requirements. I also want to bring up that I went to a Teen Super Summit in St. Charles. It was the first ever Teen Summit. They invited local schools. They ended up having, I think, 450 students, which was great. Unfortunately, due to the bus shortage, I was unable to coordinate transportation for students, but I did attend, and it was fabulous. The DEA agent, who was the one that did One Pill Can Kill, he was also involved with the Teen Summit, and I have talked to him and inquired about getting a teen summit of sorts into Rockwood, and they are very interested. So that will be my focus for the second semester. They did also invite a lot of guest speakers, but one that stands out in my mind is Brandon Novak, who is from the movie Jackass and Viva La Bam. He was a guest speaker as well, and he is in recovery, and he is a peer specialist, and he is a public speaker. I really would like to see him and the DEA agent, and then one of the mothers present to all Rockwood high schools. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing for the second semester. But that is all I have to update you on my program. It's a lot, but I do
Wow.
appreciate your time. Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? So again, the motion is to approve the proclamation, designating October 21st through 25th, 2024 as Red Ribbon Week in the Rockwood School District. All in favor by signify by yay.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Now we're at 8.02, the 2026-27 school calendar and revisions for the 2025 and 2026 school calendar. And this is our first reading. So the motion is to postpone the approval of the proposed 2026-27 school calendar and revision of the 2025-26 school calendar until the November 7th, 2024 Board of Education meeting.
Second.
Okay, and so our discussion, we'll have discussion and then we'll vote. So, Dr. Jen Martin?
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Kane, Mrs. Sadowski. I appreciate your time this evening. My name is Jennifer Martin, and I serve as the Director of Human Resources here in the Rockwood School District. I have the privilege and pleasure to provide you today with our first reading of our proposed 2025-26 revisions and the 2026-27 school calendars and the outcome of the work of our district committee. All right. We're going to begin with just the procedure that we follow in order to develop our calendars. We use a district calendar committee that is comprised of our parents, staff, administrators, and of community members as well. We meet annually to review and develop the school year calendar, and we typically work 2 years in advance. All of our calendar committee representatives, along with our meeting notes, can be found on our district website. The work of the calendar committee includes a presentation of our parameters and goals that we set within our district. It also includes a proposed draft along with a blank calendar for anyone to build from. And our committee works to collect feedback, including strengths, opportunities, and questions around those proposals. We work to obtain committee consensus, whether that be with a follow-up survey to the committee members, or if time permits, we obtain that consensus within our committee meeting. Then from there, those proposals are reviewed by Superintendent's Cabinet, and if there are additional committee meetings that are needed to review any additional feedback, we do schedule those. This year, we did not receive any additional feedback, so we're ready to present to you this evening. There are a few established parameters that guide our work. I know most of you are very familiar with the revised Missouri statute coming from House Bill 604, where schools may not start their school years earlier than 14 days prior to Labor Day. We also require a minimum of 1,044 instructional hours according to the state of Missouri. In our district, we've set a goal for 173 student attendance days. We also take into consideration presidential and midterm elections, as we know those are days that are less desired to have students in the building because we want to ensure safety. And we also have adhered to 187 teacher contract days, which include 4 professional learning days within the school year, 2 conference compensation days, professional teacher work days, and paid holidays. I'd like to present to you the first semester of the 2025-2026 calendar revisions. This calendar includes a teacher start date for August 12th, followed by a student start date on August 18th. As mentioned, we did embed those professional learning days into the school year. Our first semester includes 2 professional learning days highlighted in yellow on October 6th and November 3rd. The boxes highlighted in a shade of pink are the 4 late starts for the high school that will take place during that first semester. We also have 1 teacher conference compensation day that is held on October 31st. And that is paired, as you might notice, with a follow-up PD day on that Monday, which gives our students a little bit of a fall break. And our semester will end on December 19th, and that will calculate 83 student contact days for semester 1. When we look at the second semester, we're happy to share that this calendar allows us 2 full weeks for winter break. We also have embedded 2 professional learning days for second semester, highlighted in yellow on January 16th and March 13th. Again, those 4 late start days for our high school PLCs are shaded in pink. And our teacher conference compensation day was moved from spring break. It was originally the Monday of spring break, and we moved it to Friday, April 3rd. Now you may notice that that does fall on what is considered to be Good Friday. There are some challenges with this particular calendar while we prioritize making sure that we end before Memorial Day with our students. So if we were to move that off of that day, we would have to extend the school year. So that is the reason why that lands on Friday, April 3rd. Again, those highlighted yellow PD days provide extended breaks for students as they're paired on the Friday before Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the Friday before spring break. Our second semester ends on May 22nd, again before Memorial Day, and our second semester affords us 90 student contact days. When we think about the goals we were trying to achieve with the revisions for the 25-26 calendar, I'm happy to report that we met all of our legal parameters. We adhered to 173 student attendance days. We embedded 4 professional learning days throughout the year with a good interval in between, so teachers are allowed to engage in their learning and have ample time to apply their practice. We also have increased timely breaks for students, and we kept the district commitment of ending before Memorial Day for students. We're going to take a peek now at the 26-27 calendar. So this is the first semester that you're reviewing here. There are a few changes to this calendar. Most of them reflect the start date. Again, as I mentioned before in my presentation, we are restricted to starting no more than 14 days before Labor Day. And so that student start date is almost a week later in this calendar just because of the way the days fall. That does give us some challenges when we think about the first semester, so I want to take some time to explain those to you tonight. This calendar has a teacher start date of August 18th, and students will begin just a week later on August 24th. Again, we've embedded 2 professional learning days, highlighted in yellow, one on October 5th and the other one on November 3rd. Our teacher conference compensation day was moved from the last day in October to the first school day in November on November 2nd. This allows us the ability to have a teacher conference compensation day paired with our professional development. Again, our goal was to extend a fall break for students, but it also creates consistency. Instead of having students off on Friday, back on school on Monday, off again on Tuesday, we felt that students, teachers, and families would very much appreciate that consistency. Our semester end date ends on December 22nd. And this semester only includes the minimum requirement of 80 student contact days. So as you might notice, we do not have a full 2 weeks of winter break. We do have 9 days of winter break for our students in this calendar. Again, that challenge is a result of our start time and the way the calendar falls with Labor Day. When we look into second semester, however, it gives us a little bit more flexibility. So we were able to include those 2 professional learning days, similar to the other calendar I mentioned, on the Friday in January the 15th and the day before spring break in March. This time, we were able to also shift that teacher conference compensation day to a day in mid-April, providing a break for both students and staff. And if you notice, it's a day that we typically would not have off. So again, having those extra days in that second semester allows us to accommodate that goal for this calendar. And the semester ends on May 22nd, prior to our Memorial Day, and 93 student contact days are included in the second semester. For the 26-27 calendar, the following goals were achieved. We met all legal parameters. We maintained 173 student attendance days, 4 professional learning days spread throughout the calendar. We maintained timely breaks, or we increased timely breaks for students, and our students continue to end before Memorial Day. At this time, I welcome any questions you may have for me.
Jennifer, you mentioned that both the 25-26 and 26-27, that students would end before Memorial Day. What about teachers?
Great question. So our teachers have a flexible work day the day following Memorial Day on both calendars. This is an opportunity for them to wrap up any grades and reporting that they may have. It's my understanding that teachers have the opportunity to work in district or out of district on that day.
So that'd be the same for both years.
It is the same for both years. Thank you.
I have a question about the 26-27 calendar. I'm looking at April's schedule. Do you think that will impact the window for state testing, having that Friday off? I'm sure you looked at that, but I'm just asking.
We did. And our state testing window is pretty large, so we did consider that and had representatives from our professional learning development office that were able to consult with us on that, and they felt that we were able to work around that.
Okay.
Can you touch on the student breaks? You mentioned increase in student
The
breaks.
breaks? Yeah. Absolutely. So when we were considering, as you remember, the prior calendar that was approved only had 2 professional learning days originally built into the school year, and the other 2 days were part of the summer experience for teachers. And so one of our goals was to embed all 4 days within the calendar. So we had to, one of the things that we did was have a very thoughtful conversation of where those days really should occur. So one goal that we had was to make sure that PD was spread out for teachers throughout the course of the year. The other goal that we were trying to consider is taking opportunities to place those days where students and families might have a little bit longer of a break. So again, placing them very strategically with our compensation day in the first semester allows us to have a bit of a fall break. Just usually ends at the end of October, beginning of November. And then placing them in accordance to Martin Luther King Day, so the Friday before that holiday of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And then also the Friday before spring break elongates that weekend, that holiday weekend, and our spring break for our students.
Okay. And my second question, so would our teachers need to come back in the summer for PD days, or?
We have eliminated that. So
Oh.
any PD that a teacher chooses to do over summer would be their choice, but that is no longer a requirement for our calendar and for our contract. It's all embedded into the school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So when I'm looking at the, and I think they're both the same things, but the 25-26 calendar, I see that you've created looking at the 26-27 calendar, you've created a fall break in November?
That is correct.
By using the teacher conference compensation day and a PD day.
That is correct. And then we did that same thing on the 25-26 calendar. It's just split with a weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Good work.
Are there any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you for your time this evening.
So I will read the motion again, and that is to postpone the approval of the proposed 2026-27 school calendar and revisions of the 2025-2026 school calendar until November 7th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. All those in favor signify by yea.
Yay.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Eight point zero three, adoption of the 26-27 early childhood preschool calendar and revisions to the 2025-26 early childhood preschool calendar, and this is the first reading. Again, the motion is to postpone the approval of the proposed 2026-27 early childhood preschool calendar and revision of the 2025-26 early childhood preschool calendar until the November 7, 2024 Board of Education meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. David Harold's joining us for the discussion.
All right, good evening. So I'm seeking approval to make revisions to the 25-26 and 26-27 preschool calendars. We plan to make the same adjustments that was just discussed to the K-12 calendar. So overall, we're just trying to come into better alignment to K-12 for those 2 school years coming up.
Any questions, comments, further discussion?
I'm sure everybody just appreciates us aligning the calendars.
Yes, it's a win.
Okay. So, one more time. The motion is to postpone the approval of the proposed 2026-2027 early childhood preschool calendar and revisions of the 2025-26 early childhood preschool calendar until November 7th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. All in favor, please signify by yay.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Next is Dr. Willett talking to us about the Comprehensive School Improvement Plan update. There is no motion here. This is discussion information only.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you all the great work that's going on in this area. I thought I would start this evening with this slide to show how we are aligning this process, and this has been going on for the last 2 years. We're in a really interesting spot this year because we are working on a new district strategic plan. You're going to see that later next spring. So that work is going on at a district level. We just finished up the Nurturing Learning community meeting, and then followed by a committee the steering committee meeting, and we're going to get ready to start discussing the financial area, and then our high quality staff, and followed by safe and caring schools. So that's going to be taking place until later next semester. Then that will lead us to develop our strategic plan, have our comprehensive school improvement plan aligned to that. And really, the work that you see in the green there is what's taking place this year that I'm going to talk the most about tonight. That's our building school improvement plan. So every building in the district has a building school improvement plan. Those align to the teacher PLC and teacher evaluation instrument goals that our teachers set every year, which also aligns ultimately to the classroom instructional goals and practices. We're seeing a lot of really great work happening in that area, that our buildings are really aligning as a team and collaborating on those things, and some great things are going on in our buildings. I'm going to share that with you tonight. We had a kickoff in May where each building brought a team of teachers and administrators. That's always debatable that time of year because we're ending the school year, but it really did give us a time to focus away from the busyness of the school year to start talking about what next year was going to look like. We reviewed data. Of course, Glenn and his team brought data with them, and we gave buildings time to sit and digest that data. And then they started to develop the 3 building goals, and those are the same as they were last year. They set a goal in student academic learning, a goal in universal opportunity, equity, and access, and those are academically based goals, and then a goal in character and well-being. This year we have, so far we're in the midst of visiting the buildings. So myself, Dr. Jansen, Dr. Godwin, Dr. Suggs, Glenn and Carrie, Glenn Hancock and Carrie Skeeters go with us. And basically the purpose of those buildings is to sit down with principals and find out how we can support them. We've got a lot of resources in our district, and sometimes they just don't know about things that we could do to help them. Most of the time that's pretty obvious, but it's always good to have that extra set of eyes there to say, hey, we could help you with this as well. And that's really the purpose of those meetings. One thing that we're adding in this year is a more layered look at data dives. We like to call them data dives. We have a variety of sessions that we're offering. Teacher sessions that we're bringing in groups of teachers to really look at that benchmark data that we give 3 times a year and dissect that. We're also bringing that data to the Rockwood Learning Council on a regular basis, so there's follow-up there as well. We're holding specific administrator sessions during the assistant principal PD, so we're bringing them in and showing them the data that's available. And then our data analysts and curriculum coordinators are going to buildings and meeting with specific teacher groups, PLCs, grade levels, to really dig into their data and what's going on there. We've got two tools that are helping us with that. We've got Formative at the middle school level, and some of our high schools are starting to use that, and then we have Seesaw at the elementary level. So those two tools are really helping us with that work. Then we are connecting our professional learning plans to BSIP goals. So that is new for this year, that our buildings had to turn in a professional learning plan to specifically tell us what they were going to be doing on those district PD days to support those BSIP goals. And they've really done a great job of that. In fact, many of them are going beyond those PD days and offering things during plan time for teachers if that's available, after school, for a stipend. So they're really trying to work that within the day so that they can add those extra steps in there. Faculty meetings are another great place where they're doing a lot of that work. And then we're really trying to focus our Rockwood Learning Council meetings on clarity, evidence, and feedback, which is a framework that helps support that BSIP goal. So you're going to see that repeated in each of those meetings this year as well. One of the things that we don't get to talk about much, and we're really noticing a lot of growth in this area this year, is the building action steps that are in place. We've really emphasized the importance of those action steps. You can set that big goal in the end, but if you don't have specific action steps to get there, it's really hard to figure out how you're going to get there. So our buildings have been very creative and thoughtful in this realm in particular, so I wanted to share some of the ideas of things that are going on this year just to give you a glimpse of what's happening. We've had several secondary buildings that have formed literacy leadership groups. So they have teachers from a variety of content areas that are learning strategies to teach their colleagues on how to help kids access the literacy in their classrooms better. And that's a really interesting way to do that, and teachers have been engaged in that work. We've had several requests for those teachers to go to additional professional learning, and we're of course supporting that as they go through that work. Assessing learning by standard is another avenue that we've taken in several of our buildings using Formative and Seesaw. So they're choosing a standard using a heat map that we give them from the MAP test, choosing a particular standard that they haven't necessarily been performing as they would like to be in that area, and really tracking that along the way with support of a coordinator, and then writing some formative assessments around those. So that's great work that's going on as well. And our data analysts have been really helpful in that area as well. Academic lab, we do a little activity called drafting, meaning you can request kids to come to you. And a lot of our buildings at the middle school level are using that opportunity to use standards-informed data to draft kids. So they're noticing this student didn't do well on this standard on assessment. I'm going to get a small group of students who didn't do well, and we're going to do some work during that academic lab. Student goal setting and tracking using proficiency scales and rubrics. There's some great work going on at both elementary and middle school with that, using that proficiency scale, really making it obvious to kids where they need to be in the learning, and the kids setting the goal of where they want to go next. And the conversations that are coming out of that are amazing. Our kids really do know where they are when we do those kinds of things with them, and they have very mature conversations with their teacher about where they are in the learning. It's always fascinating to watch. Focusing on small group instruction to differentiate lessons, that's typically something that happens at the elementary school, but our secondary buildings are starting to experiment with that a little bit more and realizing the power of pulling a small group of kids who need extra support on something sometime during the class period. We had some admin teams at the beginning of the year, especially when they made a literacy goal, decide to walk through and just collect data on how much literacy they see happening in 1 day or 2 days, and sharing that with their staff overall. Like, we walked into 30 classrooms on this day and we saw reading or writing or discussion going on in 25 of them. So just sharing that data to start thinking about increasing the amount of literacy that kids are doing actively during the class period. And then buildings really focusing on what we call CER, claim, evidence, and reasoning, and multiple content areas. So some coordinators have supported this work, and this really is about those responses to literature or responses to problems that the teacher is giving them, giving claims, evidence, and reasoning in written form, and really looking at comparing student work and analyzing that work to figure out what needs to be taught next. So some really great, rich things that are happening in our buildings in terms of those action steps. That's been the most exciting thing to watch this year. And they're really excited about that work too. They're very proud to tell us about that when we come to their buildings, as they should be. So our next steps are in January and February to do data dives on those benchmark assessments that we'll be taking in December and January. Some of those at the secondary level, we've been asked, especially at the high school, to push those back to January because they're trying to finish up finals in December. So January, February, those data dives will take place, and then we'll talk about making adjustments as needed. Are there things that we need to do? Are there additional action steps we need to take? That will come up when we have our second semester BSIP visits, so we'll be doing those visits again. And then we'll continue that focus on responding to assessment results. We're really getting some traction in that area, and it's really nice to see what's happening there. Then, when all that's complete, we'll have a new CSIP that will guide our next year's goals and where we're going to go. And then in May, we'll start with team time to plan for next year. So that new strategic plan will be in place. We'll start talking about what next year's goals are going to be and go from there. Any questions?
You know, I was going to say something. Actually, I just want to commend you that because we've needed to do this for quite a while. The alignment, the focus, and intentional instruction, and an action plan that we can actually evidence results is key to our student success. And I think we're ensuring that across all of our schools. And there's still, I want to mention that we still have some autonomy within those schools of how they go about doing it.
Yes.
And I think that's important for us. While we want to have non-negotiables and consistency, we still have some autonomy in how they do it with their staff and their students.
And I have to give a lot of credit to our building administrators and our teachers. They have really embraced this work and collaborated together with it and taken it and run with it, and it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think this is amazing work, and when I'm looking at the action steps, they're very classroom focused.
Yes.
It's not building focused, it's classroom focused.
That's where the action
building
happens.
Focused, but it affects what happens in the classroom.
Yes.
Maybe just a detailed question, if I could. You mentioned on one of your slides about the ACT Lab and drafting the students in. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I thought this year we did some different things with ACT Lab, expanded it or did something there.
We did.
How's that working?
It's working well. Like anything new, there are challenges and things that we have to get used to. That drafting situation was rocky at the beginning, but we're getting better and better at it. And the buildings are really good at taking turns of letting different groups of teachers draft first, because sometimes you'll have children that need to be drafted in multiple areas, so they're taking turns on that so that everybody gets an opportunity to do that. It's just been really neat to see that evolve over time.
Well, I actually, you answered the question I was going to ask. What do you do when two teachers want to see the same kid at the same time? Because that's
most of the buildings, they do that take turns thing, but there are times when a teacher will go to the person who's already drafted the student and said, I really need to see the student more, and they'll duke it out until they figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Shelley, what strategies do you think the building principals are doing to communicate this work to parents and families?
They use their regular communication with parents, I'm sure. They're doing a lot with, in terms of communicating to their staff. They're bringing it up at faculty meetings more frequently. This isn't a document that's just sitting. They're actively involved in that. And with their communication to parents, that is part of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. It's been great.
Thank you.
There is no complicated motion here, so we're moving on to 9.02. This is 9.01, proposed agenda for the November 7th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. There it is, up on the board. No, this is just discussion. And then we're moving to 9.02, future agenda presentations and events to attend. It is Veterans Day, which seems to be like 5 days now or something, isn't it?
It's at least 4, yes. It's a very, very busy schedule, so, and most definitely deserving. So if you can find the time, it is an amazing series of days to
Yes.
be in schools, to see the appreciation for those who have served and sacrificed for our nation. So if you can, and I know your schedules are busy, if you can, please find time.
So there is a spreadsheet out there Janet has put out, and so look to see what time you would have to attend something, and it is amazing. I already have my name in some of my favorite places. Yeah. It is, it's incredible, the feeling that you get from joining veterans and hearing their stories. And with that, it is time to adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much for attending.